Oh, you guys. Oh, you guys. Oh, you guys. Welcome back. I'm Jeff. We are the Animal Donut family. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like bananas. When you get to the end of this video, you're going to know some stuff about investing that you didn't know right now when we're starting. And you're going to love this. We're going to start with talking a little bit about some ideas from Warren Buffett and also Benjamin Bigtree. So I want to share with you a comment about Aehr test systems. Love the investment philosophy. Have been thinking over the last few months about buying. I think Aehr is down until there is a positive turn in the EV outlook. What are your thoughts about building a position now while price is down in anticipation of EV market turning late this year, first half of 2025? You should not be asking me that question. You need to do your homework, because asking me on YouTube what I think about a company that you need to understand well is the wrong way to approach this. And I love your comment and thank you for leaving it. I understand where it's coming from. What I want you to do is do your homework and then tell me. But don't ask me. So how? That's the question you need to ask. How can I do my homework? I just got something in the mail right here. And this is an annual report right here. It's called the 10K. It's also referred to as an annual report. And this is the notice of the annual meeting of stockholders. And these are full of useful information about one of the companies that I invest in. This one is Axcelis Technologies. And what you will find is your brokerage firm, like I happen to invest in Axcelis through Schwab, and you can go on the Schwab app and you can select to have your literature, your stock literature, mailed to you. And then you will get these nice documents which are lengthy and detailed and will teach you so much about the company, and it will be mailed to you. And you can also download these. If you want to save the paper and save the environment, you can just download it and read it on your phone or your iPad or your computer. But I just think what you need to do is do some reading and learn about the company. If you wonder, why am I being so upfront and in your face about this? It's because I feel strongly about this. If you want to be a really good investor, you need this. And what I'm talking about is you need a circle of competence. Okay, here is my gift to you via Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. It's called the Circle of Competence. Circle of Competence. All right? Right there. What you need is this. And the idea here is you need to know the ins and outs. The ins and outs of any company before you buy its stock. And this means that you have to have intelligence about this company, which you can get by reading that annual report. Start with that. There's so much stuff you can find by Googling. There's so much stuff you can find reading about the company, not the stock price and following the price, learning about the business. So you have intelligence. Intelligence is knowledge, which you can learn from your Googling and from reading, and also experience, okay? And that is something that comes with time. And it's not something, obviously, you can Google. And you need to have a competitive edge, okay? Because when you buy that stock, Aehr Test Systems, for example, you're competing against hundreds of thousands, if not millions of investors who are all trying to make a decision as to whether they should buy or sell that stock and how much they should pay. So when you decide to buy or sell, you are betting that you understand what's going on better than the average other investor, which is a very hard task. Now, when you're in here, you are a doer, okay? You are a producer. This is where you want to be. I think the problem is that people blur the line between their circle of competence, where they have an edge, all right? Through their knowledge, through their experience. Maybe you work at a company that's related to the business. Maybe you work in that sector. That gives you a unique understanding, okay? Maybe it's where you went to school. Maybe you learned a lot about a certain company. This is inside knowledge, okay? Inside. When you're inside your circle. But outside over here is where a lot of people are, and this is what's going to mess you up in investing, because this is when you're a beginner, okay? You're a beginner, you lack knowledge and experience, you have no competitive edge. In a way, you're a dreamer. You're speculating on a stock, and I think, unfortunately, a lot of the YouTube finance world is based on speculation. Put another way, it's based on betting on where the stock price is going to go in a short period of time. What I want to help you guys with is, and I promised you that by the time you got to the end of this, you'd understand something new. So this idea of the circle of competence, I learned from Buffett. Now, Ben Bigtree wrote this book about investing. Maybe you've heard of it. It's called The Intelligent Investor. A lot of people talk about The Intelligent Investor. It's the most quoted investment book ever. But I think that a lot of the people who talk about it have not actually read this book. So what I will tell you, I bought this book probably 20 years ago. You don't have to read the whole book. There are 3 really important chapters. What I want to share with you from this book is he makes a big distinction between investing on the one hand and speculating or gambling on the other hand. He said it's okay to speculate, it's okay to gamble, but have many different speculations you're doing. You don't want to just gamble on one thing. Speculation becomes intelligent when you understand what you're doing and you've weighed the odds that things are going to work out in your favor. And even if you don't know 100% about the company, you can invest in it. But you need to ensure what you're doing. You need to protect yourself by doing many of these intelligent speculations. Because if you just do a few and 1 or 2 or 3 of them do really poorly, then you've lost a lot of money. And by the way, I know that a lot of you guys who watch this channel are doing just this, because you've told me in the comments about different stocks, and some of you own like 5 or 10 or 15 different stocks. And so I think you're already doing this. But what Ben Bigtree says is that you can reduce the overall risk of the portfolio by investing in many different intelligent speculations. Some of them might not work out, but those that do really well should balance out the ones that fail. Now, if you're wondering, why do I call him Ben Bigtree? Well, I'll tell you. It says here on the top, Benjamin Graham. But that is not actually the birth name of the guy who wrote this book. His name is Benjamin Grossbaum, but he did not go by that name because in his time, in the early part of the 20th century on Wall Street, Jewish people were not accepted into business. They were not welcome into the investment world. So he had to change his name from Grossbaum to Ben Graham. And Grossbaum is actually German, and it means gross is big and Baum is tree. So Benjamin Big Tree. What I think's happening is a lot of people have speculated on Aehr test systems. And I think what's happening is people are focused on the stock price. But what Ben Bigtree said is focus on the business, because the stock price is just to serve you. It's not there to instruct you. You can't learn anything from looking at charts and looking at stock prices, but you can learn about the business. And this is, by the way, why I hate the process that a lot of YouTubers have of showing you the company ticker and the stock price. And there's a suggestion, maybe they're holding a whole bunch of money and saying, Aehr test systems at 23.35. And the connection I think a lot of beginning investors will make is, oh, this is a good price to buy the stock at. Or they will say something like, home run at $18. Well, home runs are good, right? Now, here's the problem. When YouTubers are selling you something, then they are trying to get you into their network, into their system.
But unlike or like Elon, I'm a businessman. I've captured your attention. That attention I can leverage into other forms of income.
And they make what I think comes across as a recommendation. Now, if somebody says Aehr test systems at $18 is a home run, sure, that's their belief. But people who bought that stock at $18 are in a sorry state now because that stock is down a lot. That anyone who bought in based on that kind of a thumbnail, on that kind of an idea, are probably going to be in a position where they're like, why did I listen to him? Or why did I believe that that dollar figure was a good dollar figure for that stock? Because I think there are a lot of people out there who push information that I think can hurt beginning investors. And I think that there's a huge responsibility to anybody who's been doing this for 10 years or 15 years or 20 years to help people who are interested in learning about stocks to learn about how to make investments. But I think that telling them a stock price that they think will make you rich is not the way to help people. I have made my share of mistakes. I have bought my share of stocks where they went down instead of going up. I'm not perfect. What I don't like is when people make mistakes and they can't say, you know what, I shouldn't have bought this stock or I shouldn't have paid this price, because making mistakes is part of investing. There's no investor who's been doing this for any period of time that has not lost, that has not made a bad decision, has not made a mistake. The key is to learn from it. So if you buy a stock and you pay way too much, let's say Aehr test systems, and you can't admit that you made a mistake and you make excuses for your decisions, I think you're showing your ignorance and not your sophistication.
Aehr going to 60 in the next 2 years. Okay, I didn't miss that one. I hit it square in the center and it's heading for the fence.
I think the best help you can give to a beginning investor is to say, you know what, I made a mistake on this one, and here's what it was, and here's what you can do so that you don't have to make all the mistakes yourself. Because the best investors do some learning from other people's mistakes. So I want to share one other thing now that I'm all fired up. On one of these stock discussion boards, this person wrote about Aehr test systems, future catalysts. Number one, semiconductor industry to go from approximately 600 billion to over 1 billion annually. That doesn't make sense, to go from 600 billion to over 1 billion. So obviously they're not great with their numbers. EV going to 800 volt from 400 volt in a big way. Inventory headwinds experienced by their customers will be abating and eventually turn the corner with high demand. These are not statements of fact. These seem like statements of wish. Here's another. Consistent uptrend projected into the foreseeable future. Again, a projection into the future is not a fact. This is smoke and mirrors. This is a projection. Okay, this is not a fact. Asia interest in Aehr with possible showrooms as asked for by Aehr customers. Possible showrooms. So what I want to underscore here is investing is about the probable, okay? Not about the possible. And here's, I'm just going to read one more sentence. If they can make a record $65 million in revenue and $11 million net in 2024 with very few customers, if they can, okay? So what I think we have is people who maybe already own the stock are making projections and saying, if this happens. Investing is about the probable, not about the possible. What I see happening is speculation, and it's not Benjamin Bigtree's kind of speculation where you're doing this based on learning about the reality of the business and really understanding the sector and know what's driving things forward in reality. The reason I did not buy Aehr Test Systems stock is because it's under $1 billion market cap. I mean, 1 billion is a small cap company. This is a micro cap, and it's been getting more micro every week. And now I think at the beginning of the year, it was maybe an $800 or a $900 million company, and the stock has gone down so much, I'm sure it's much less than half of that now. So I think what people need to understand is small cap stocks are very, very risky. Micro cap stocks are even riskier. This is the riskiest type of stock, in my view, is these very, very small companies that just have one product. In this case, it's a burn-in equipment and testing for semiconductor chips. And there are so many videos on YouTube about this particular company that it kind of blows my mind. I think that last year the stock price went up so high, so fast, so quickly that like a flame just draws moths to it. People were really attracted to this stock price going up and up and up. And I think a lot of people bought the stock and are either still holding it and hoping that it turns around, or maybe they just see that it's really cheap now and they're hoping if they buy it, then it will rocket back up and they'll get rich. I got the annual report from Excelis Technologies right here, and I started reading it. And I'm going to continue reading it. There's also going to be an earnings call. There's going to be a conference call, and you can listen to the executives, the CEO, talking about the last quarter. I'm going to listen to it. This is how I build and I create a circle of competence when it comes to investing, and I want to encourage you guys to do the same thing as well. That kind of thinking will transform you from the speculative or gambling mindset into the investing mindset. So as Groucho Marx said, those are my principles, and if you don't like them, well, I've got some others. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.